A knockout! Something today's special guest knows all about. It's Tyson Fury, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm guessing you can't have this, can you?
Not until after the fight, but...
Take it on me.
I'll definitely
stick it in your pocket
later.
It's actually... It's in proportion for you. How tall are you?
6'9". Looks like a little miniature lollipop, doesn't it?
It's Zoe. It's actually bigger than Zoe. Now, with 14 wins from 14 fights, 10 by knockout, heavyweight Tyson is fighting for the British and Commonwealth title when he takes on Derek Chisora on Saturday. All the action from Wembley broadcast live on Channel 5, which makes a nice change. So, with 3 days left to go, or 3 and a bit days to go, are you training or chilling?
Just chilling out at the minute. I've done all my training a long time ago, so just about...
So when did you start to wind down?
Started to wind down beginning of last week. I've done quite a lot of training so far, so just a part of relaxing now.
What's a typical day when you are training for a fight?
Typical day would be getting up in the morning, going for a run, coming back, going in the gym, consisting of pull-ups, weights, sit-ups type of things, maybe some skipping, and then resting, eating, sleeping. When you eat, do you eat bucket loads and bucket loads of food? Or? Not really. I tend to just eat whatever I fancy, to be honest. As long as it's nice and healthy. And then around about 7 o'clock I'll be in the gym for some more boxing work. And then. So how many hours of physical activity would you be doing a day? I would say, we don't really go in hours, but depends how we feel on the day, but I would say we do probably about 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. Do you know, I think that's actually more than I have done in the last year. Well, I've got a bad back, so I've got an excuse. Now, I think your fans will know this, but you're actually from a fine line of boxing greats, aren't you? Both your father and your grandfather. Tell us a bit about them. Father was a professional boxer back in the late 80s, early 90s. He had about 14 pro fights. Fought Henry Akinwande for the eliminated for the British title. He lost that one, but fortunately, that's how boxing goes. You win some, you lose some. And boxing's just a big part of me family growing up, to be honest. Your granddad was a journeyman boxer, is that right? My granddad was a journeyman boxer. He had over 100 fights in and out of the ring. Would they all be gloved up, or...? Gloved up, bare knuckle, prize fights on fairgrounds and stuff like that, so if I can't fight, nobody can. And funnily enough, I'm not going to argue with that either. And if I remember right, your dad had Gypsy in his name, in his professional name. Yep, he did. That was, well, I come off a long line of travellers. OK, all right, OK. Back ancestry is travellers, Irish travellers, so that roughness is there as well. Now you're scaring me. I was going to say, with a name like Tyson Fury... It's a brilliant name. You were never going to be a solicitor, were you?
Now, do you have any suspicions before you fight? Do you have any things that you've got to go through, rituals, or dangle a rabbit's foot, or whatever? No rabbit's foot or rituals. I've got me lucky underpants that I wear every single fight. Have you really? I have. Lucky for fighting, or lucky for love, or just lucky pants? Lucky for everything. Lucky love, for everything. Fighting, whatever goes. But I've never. Is your name real? But is that your God-given name, Tyson Fury? God-given name. When I was born, 1988, my dad called me after Mike Tyson. And with the surname Fury, I mean, you're home and dry, aren't you? Sounds like a made-up name, doesn't it? Yeah, it's terrific. It's the dream name, too. Well, you're a bit of a pugilist yourself, aren't you, Matthew? No. I believe. No? No, not at all. Never hit anybody in anger in my life. No, truly. Now, yeah, well, what's that? Look. Oh, look at that. Yeah. No, that was shortly before I beat Lennox Lewis up. You know, it was nothing really. Are they your lucky pants? Yeah. That's frightening. That's terrifying. I did that for the Daily Mirror years back, and when you step in the ring with it, I mean, you're even taller than Lennox, aren't you? I think he's about 6'7", I think. And yep, 6'9", so a good bit taller than Lennox. Now, is it true that we have the Olympics to thank for you actually turning pro? We do. How does that work, then? Well, 2008, I was due to go to the Olympic qualifiers in Beijing, but actually I never got there because of politics and whatever involved in amateur boxing. There was a few things in my way. So I walked away from boxing for a while, and then I came back to it after I spoke to Mick Hennessy, the promoter, turned pro, and here I am today. Why would you have wanted to do the Olympics instead of going pro to start off with? Well, the Olympics is something you dream of when you're a young lad and you're growing up and you're amateur boxer. Like going to the Olympic Games is just a dream, really. And I would have went to 2012 if I'd stayed amateur, but who knows what would have happened in the future. I could have got run over or whatever. I'm a big believer in striking while the iron's hot, and it probably wouldn't have been hot in 2 years. Now, I've met your other half, who is absolutely beautiful, and is she going to be at that ringside on Saturday? She's going to be ringside, but she's 3 months off
are having our son, so she hasn't got to get too hyped up, or we're having a...
Can she handle it? Because it must be hard for her.
Well, it's one of them things. She have always been boxing since I've been going out with her and married to her, so she's got to get used to it.
And what about injuries? Because I know if I was looking back on you did have was it a back injury?
Back injury, yeah.
Oh, tell me about it. I know all about that. Is that something that you are 100% over, or is it going to be a niggle or
no,
a concern?
I'm 100% over that. I was off for about 4 or 5 months for that, and it's totally healed now. So.
Did you have surgery?
Didn't have any surgery, but I had physio for about 2 months.
No, no, exactly.
I was going to say, the buzz in Manchester about you has been around now for about 3 years. That this guy's going to be the world heavyweight champion one day. And but you kind of, a lot of people avoided fighting you, didn't they, for a long time? They
did. I've been calling everyone out since I had 1 or 2 pro fights, and Derek Chisora, who I'm fighting on Saturday, I've been calling him out for the past 2 years, and he's finally grown some cojones to.
Why wouldn't they fight you? They're scared?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what the reason is. I don't
really understand how it works at the sort of top pro level.
You just give them a bell and go, come on, down the park,
Saturday. They don't want to
Saturday.
fight anyone who might beat them.
Right, OK. OK. So that must all go well. You're going to win on Saturday? Stupid question.
Hopefully.
Knockout?
Stupid question. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Guaranteed. Oh, yes. Now, I might not be boxing's biggest fan, but I do like a punt, so I might find yourself with 20 quid of my money riding on this. I wish you the very best.
Good bet.
Now, Tyson, do you think... I mean, how's this going to end? Do you think... I mean, a lot of people out there are getting bored with it. I think it is still a huge and valid story. Do you think that that Rupert Going would draw a line under proceedings?
I don't know, to be honest, because I think this has probably been going on for quite a amount of years. What we didn't know about is just out in the press at the minute. So I think that, to be honest, a guy 80 years old, like you say, he's... Obviously, it's like my granddad, to be honest. My dad's 45, he can't even work a phone, so I highly doubt he can even work a phone.
But it's quite interesting you mention the age, because he's 80 years old, he's had the most amazing career. I just wonder if resigning, retiring... But first, Tyson, knock us out with some news. What have you got for us, sir?
Well, I've always wanted to be a newsreader.
Right, here we go. This is your moment.
You've got to do that then, Tyson. You've got to do that. There you go.
Right. We've got The Independent. Hacking crisis edges closer to Cameron.
Yeah.
News of the World suspects Neil Wallace worked for the Tories. MP's connection to Coulson prevented police briefing number 10. Cabinet colleagues leave Troy leader increasingly isolated. Trade visit to Africa cut short to allow emergency debate.
Yes, yes. What do we think about him? You've got starving people in Africa, major conferences lined up that David Cameron should be involved with. And, OK, everyone thought Parliament was going to be on holiday. But he's hightailed it back here to save his own skin, doesn't he? It does make you wonder, Tyson, you think famine, millions of people's lives at risk.
Exactly.
News international scandal, a few people's jobs at risk. A few hundred when you bring in the news of the world. But this leads into your next story, which is an
next
advert.
Story, yeah.
I can see,
Children's famine. This is in The Guardian. The story about the phone hacking does matter, but there is bigger matters and vital stories going unreported. That's true. This morning, the United Nations will formally declare a famine in parts of South Somalia. Now, I do believe that lives are more important than jobs, so I think that this should be out and people should be helping.
To be fair, though, David Cameron is but one man.
Exactly.
Would his presence there in Africa or his would it have made any difference? Well, I'm not sure.
I think it would help to highlight the situation,
exactly,
the problem. I think people are still really unaware of how bad it is out there.
After the ads, though, we're asking if boxing is really a sport. Are boxers good role models for youngsters or the very worst? Sorry, Tyson. You know the number, we just heard it there, 0207 173 5555. That is boxing a sport? Next.
Where is boxing banned? In Norway, Sweden or Iceland? Find out after this short break. So before the break we asked where is boxing banned? And the answer is all three.
Welcome back to Wednesday's show with Terry Christian, Zoe Lyons and Tyson Fury. First, I'm going to get my head kicked in. Good, they all shout in the audience. Is boxing a sport, is what I'm asking. Can you really put two men punching each other's lights out in the same category as rugby or football? because violence lies at the very heart of boxing, doesn't it? Now, I know old boxers, and they'll bang on and on about discipline, respect, honour and all that rubbish. But if I was to offer out Terry for a spot of pugilism outside my local, would the old Bill see two honourable athletes showing respect for each other, or two yobbos, no offence, Terry, having a scrap? Now, those in favour of boxing will bore on and on about boxing's long and distinguished history, but that history includes horrific injuries, such as the brain damage sustained by Michael Watson in his '91 clash with Chris Eubank. Unbelievably, I think it's unbelievable, more and more women are boxing these days. Should they heed the fate of Becky Zalentes, who had the dubious distinction of being the first amateur female to die in the ring? Now, I still can't believe one-time Labour Sports Minister Jerry Sutcliffe, this was only a couple of years back, when he was trying to get more state schools to offer boxing. Why? Because it teaches respect, discipline and camaraderie. Those are his arguments. He also thought, and actually I can maybe see this one, that it would give kids something to do other than stab each other and take drugs. So, you know, maybe. But, you know, 80% of professional boxers, and you must know this, Tyson, end up with serious brain scarring. And you probably know, and you guys own, that the British Medical Association wants boxing banned, has been calling for it to be banned for more than 20 years. But I guess few with tickets for this Saturday's Wembley clash between Tyson and Derek Chisora will care about that, let alone those watching the brawl, the big brawl, I should say, on Channel 5. And yet, Tyson, you're in trouble already, aren't you? Because in the pre-match hype, you were going on about killing your opponent.
When I say killing, I don't actually mean killing them like dead. I mean like killing them a bit, beating up.
Right.
But it's one of them things. It's the heat of battle, really.
You did get told off, didn't you?
You get told off, but actually I didn't actually mean what I said. It was one of them things. I apologised online for it and in the press and everything. So
can you see though, like a big pansy like me finds, you know, people tell me it's not about violence, it's honour and everything else like that, and then you say I want to kill somebody, albeit in the heat of the moment. There's boxers with brain injuries, there's brain scarring, the BMA wants to pull the plug, and you add all that together, and, you know, is boxing a sport, really? Well, to be honest with you, I totally disagree in everything you've just said, to be honest. I do think boxing is one of the greatest sports in history. To be honest, you go to a football match, and after like, I don't know if you've ever been down to United play, but if we play City, then it's war zone in the streets afterwards. Right, I'll take that point for sure. But there's less well, you can name on your hands how many people have died or been injured in boxing. I've got more chance of dying eating that lollipop if I had on Friday night. I'm not going to argue with you there, either. Yeah. I might get it and spank me round the ring with it. Do you think... This is one I wrestle with. Young people, lots of young people will look up to you. Particularly, I think boxing has always been a sport where working class kids can make good. Yep. But it's still... at its heart is violence, and we've got enough trouble, haven't we, with young people tearing each other apart anyway? Do you not... I mean... I'll tell you what it is. It's controlled aggression, to be honest. Rather than go out and stab some old man on the street, 80-year-old, like you're seeing every day now in the papers and everywhere, why aren't these kids in a boxing gym taking out on some bags, sparring with proper equipment on? All these young kids, I think, like you say, you may think I'm going to ramble on about respect and honour and all that, but it's been going on for thousands of years, boxing, bare-knuckle fighting, gladiators, it all comes down to the same thing. People enjoy it, so I don't see why it should be banned at all, because in order for me to box on Saturday night, I have to pass a load of medicals before I'm fit to box. Proper doctors from this government, they go there, they check me all out, check me head, I have to have a brain scan every year. So many medicals, hands checks, everything. Do you worry at all about brain scarring? Or... No, not at all. It might make me a bit more sensible. I'm not the cleverest of people. I mean, improvement.